Hi and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Niina, and usually on this channel I have my podcast called NiinaN Knitting, where I talk about all sorts of crafts and not just knitting. But from the beginning of this year, 2021, I've taken on some challenges from a Facebook challenge group called 52 Weeks Sewing Challenge 2021. And so that's why I decided to do a separate special sewing edition on my channel. Today I'm going to show you some of the project I've made past 5 weeks, I think. And I haven't mentioned this before, but I have started a blog. I've started a number of blogs before, so I wasn't sure if I was going to keep it up, so I haven't mentioned it before, but I will now because I have continued doing that. Not all of them, but some of the sewing stuff that I've done also have a blog post. The blog is in Finnish though, so if you don't understand Finnish, you may see some photos, more photos than what you can see here on the video. As I was saying before, I was so rudely interrupted a couple of times, so that I decided to pick this up again on another day. The blog is in Finnish, and I'll leave the links to separate blog posts after each project. I haven't written anything on everything, but the ones that I have made a blog post about, then you'll find the link down below. The challenge for week number 10 was to sew a bag, and so I did. This pattern is called Sac Fripouille. It's from makerist.fr. I'm gonna put a link in the show notes. I bought this pattern, I think, at the end of last year. They had a sale with a number of patterns and all were €2 a piece, so I think that's when I got this. As you can see, I made it out of denim. These are actually my old jeans, a number of old jeans that I've worn out. So jeans that had holes in them but still had quite a bit of sort of good fabric still left. And the zipper in here is something I bought from a second-hand store. The white straps here I had in my stash. I don't remember why I got them and for what occasion, but I had quite a bit of it in my stash, and then of course the lining was something that I had just bought earlier this winter, I think. So this is the fabric that I've used for some face masks that I sewed for my sister, and I also sewed a few for myself. But what I had to go and buy from the store was this golden ribbon. I have no idea what it is in English. I know what it is in French, and I know what it is in Finnish, but this ribbon is from the store, and I went specifically to get it. And then I bought the thread that I used because it was not, I didn't have any of the right blue color. And then I got this ribbon that I used to finish the seams in in the inside of the bag. And one other thing that I had to go and buy was the interfacing. It was the sort of that you iron on. So I didn't have that, and I got it from the store here in Jyväskylä. I followed, there's a sort of a blog post on Makerist on how to sew this bag, and I followed the instructions in there. But now that I've made one, and this is the smallest size, there were 3 sizes in the pattern, and I'm thinking I might do, or I might make one of the bigger sizes also, but not just yet. But there were a few things that I will do differently next time I make one of these bags, because I am actually thinking about making another one. The instructions said to start with the zipper, which is logic. You would sew the zipper with the denim and the lining from each side, and then afterwards, then the next stage was to sew this ribbon and the second half of the outer fabric, whatever. And they were all already, they had I had already ironed on the back piece. And in retrospect, what I'm going to do next is that I will sew the ribbon in here. I'll start with the denims. I'll sew the ribbon to the smaller piece. Then I'm gonna sew in the second denim and stitches. I'm not sure if I'm going to get it to show, but yeah, there's a small stitching in here that'll keep the seam allowances nicely. And afterwards I will go and cut a piece of the interfacing, the iron-on interfacing, and then iron it on the whole piece of the denim, and after that I will sew the zipper in. I think it'll be easier. You have interfacing here in the seam allowances also, so that's not good. And especially here on the ends of the bag, there are there's interfacing in the seam allowances, which made it really, really difficult to sew it on my sewing machine. So I'll cut a piece of interfacing that's just like a centimeter or a little less smaller than the denim piece, so that there won't be interfacing on the seam allowances. It'll make it easier to do all these seams. And then I hope that this seam, or of course it's this seam, it'll be the other way around. This seam hopefully will be easier, just a little bit easier to sew. We'll see. And as you can see here, I used just the blue thread when I tried to when I sewed in the ribbon to hide the seam, so that you'd have a nice finishing in here. It was really difficult to get in place. So what I did on the other end of the bag is that I actually did quite a bit of hand sewing by hand You see that? And that's what I'm gonna do next. I'm not gonna even try to use my sewing machine to put in the finishing ribbon. I'm just gonna sew it in by hand because it'll be neater and really easier. Yeah, so the seams are really difficult with the interfacing, and you can see somebody might have made sure that the seams were all right before turning the bag over, but not me. So here's what you can see, the interfacing from here. I'll have to go back and I'll just hand stitch the seam like this, so it'll be neater. But yeah, so this is sort of a trial version of the bag. It's really nice, and I think doesn't have any pockets inside of the bag. You can't see it because it's too dark, but it'll be a usable bag like this. But I'll make some more, and I really think that I'll make 3 during this year before Christmas, and I'll just make them one by one, and then I'll offer them for my nieces for their Christmas presents, because they're really nice, and it's a really, really good project to use your old jeans for, because it's a pity to throw all that fabric to waste. Week 11 challenge was an act of craftivism, and according to the Facebook group, an act of craftivism is something that you sew to promote a certain cause. Like if you make a t-shirt or a tote bag or anything with a slogan that will promote a cause, or if you make something and donate it to a cause, to an association or something, or that sort of things. Well, I was blanking on that for a lot, and I had almost decided to reject the challenge, because that is an option in the group. But then it occurred to me that I have a friend who has been working a lot lately, this past year, for example, doing remote work, teaching, and she's also been studying on the side, sort of, and in her free time, the little she gets, she enjoys reading. So I had heard about book sleeves online, of course. I have heard that it's a thing somewhere. Don't know if it's anything in here, but around the world, I've seen it in some French podcasts, and I googled it, and I could find it online. So I decided to sew my friend a book sleeve, and here it is. I used I think it's YouTube tutorial or a blog post, whichever, and I'll link it down below. So this is the book sleeve. It's a paperback size, and I also made her a bookmark. I just went to the store and got a paperback book. I haven't read this. Actually, Max Seek is a Finnish author who writes crime novels, and I haven't read any of his, but he's on my list. He's on my to-read list. So I got her this book, and I have a bookmark that I've made for her. It's in the same blog post or something, or the instructions for it. So let's start with that. It's just 2 pieces of paper, 2 pieces of fabric sewn together, turned inside out, and then this is actually something that I added. I saw it on a video. So with the rubber band, so that when you mark your book, your bookmark is not going to fall off, because you can wrap it around your book like this. Yeah, so a bookmark, and then the book sleeve itself. Gonna drop the book. The book sleeve itself is lined. It has Union Jack lining fabric. My friend has a British husband, so that sort of suits well. And then I used the same corduroy that I used for the overalls that I showed you in my last sewing edition, I think. And this has been hardened with interfacing, the iron-on interfacing that I have been using lately. So quite a fun little project, nothing too complicated, because it's just, some squares that you sew together. But I do think it's a nice thought. So this is what I'm gonna pop in her mailbox. If I make more of these one day, I might. Maybe it would be nice to have a button or something here. Either like a strap in here, and then a button in here so that you can just close it with a strap, or then make it a little bit longer so that you can fold the upper part and then put a button in here. I'm not sure, but I'll think about it. And now I have one more sewn project, and it was quite fun to make. The challenge for week 11 was to sew something for yourself. I found a pattern in a magazine that I really would have wanted to sew for myself, but I don't have the fabric right now, and I can only go to the fabric store a little later. So I decided to use some scraps, and I always need more underpants, so that's what I did. This is a pattern I've used before. It's from Suuri Käsityö magazine, 11-12/2019, I think. I'll put it on the screen. And this is the size I've made myself before. But this is the first time I used this kind of elastic lace, or whatever this is. So this is some old fabric that I had in my stash. This was something old that I had in my stash. I don't even remember where I got it and when. And the lace was just a scrap that I bought from a basket in a fabric store. So more or less scraps all the way. They're not very tidy, I know, but like I said, I haven't used this kind of lace elastic before, and I stitched it from here, from the top, top stitch here first to attach it to the fence, and then found that it'll, the bottom part will flip up. So I had to make another stitch, but I used white yarn to do that, so you can't really see that as well. You can see it on the inside though, because I didn't change the lower thread at all. And then I used some
some you can't really see it at all because it's see-through, all see-through. It's uh, Framilon or something. It's a silicone elastic thing. I think I bought it when one of my kids was a baby. So either 8 or 16 years ago, I think. Um, and you used it in a baby garment or in some cloth diapers that I guess I sewed a couple of cloth diapers. I used them with both my kids. They really don't look neat here, but I don't care because they're like pants. Nobody's gonna see them. My husband would if he, would want to look closely, but come on. So yeah, I'll have to see if they, bug me because it's on the inside of the pants. But yeah, I'm pretty sure they'll be good enough to wear. But of course, since I was just making something a little, something very small, I also made a pair of pants for my daughter too, and I used scraps for her too. This is her pair. So I had this very, very narrow scrap of this Paw Patrol fabric. I've made some t-shirts for my daughter using this, but I had, a narrow piece, just enough to fit this front piece in. And then I used some an old t-shirt, something that was already too small for her for the back piece and the inner piece of the pants. And this elastic also was something that I bought from the fabric store. I didn't have I would have used some light blue thread if I had had some, but I didn't. So I mean, it's fine. It's fine. I don't think I don't think anybody will come and say, oh, or like my daughter will probably not say, Mom, this thread is ugly. I can't wear these pants. So yeah, uh, some really small fabric scraps made to be worn. That's a win-win, right?
The challenge for week number 13 was to upcycle something. And well, what do you know? I made another bag. I told you that there were certain things that I was going to do differently on the second time. Well, I'll show you a little bit of something on a video. So yeah, I found another thing that I'll do differently next time. So it's getting a little too cocky again, overconfident. So, of course, I could fix it. It just was a little pain in the neck. Fortunately, I hadn't put in the interfacing yet. I hadn't ironed on the interfacing, so I only had to take my seam cutter, seam ripper, whatever the tool is called, and open the seam or make a hole in the seam to insert the handles. But yeah, I gotta say it wasn't fun. So next time I'll try to remember to put in the handles before I put in this band and before I finish the seam. How stupid of me. But other than that, it's the same sort of bag that I made the first time, and this is out of just one pair of jeans. I used a red zipper that I had at home. Used the same fabric lining, and then I used a red ribbon inside to tidy up the seams. So yeah, this is pretty and it's gonna be a Christmas gift. So wow, I started already. Okay, the last thing I'm gonna show you today is my sew for week number 14, where the challenge was to sew your oldest or your newest fabric. I have no idea which fabric is my oldest, and there is probably a reason why they are still in my stash. So I decided to go to the store and buy some new fabric, and I wanted to make myself a shirt for the spring, and I wanted something to go with that theme in a way. I had borrowed a magazine from the library. It's a Finnish sewing magazine, Suuri Käsityö. It's the newest issue, number 3, 2021. And there was this shirt blouse in it. And I won't be able to show it to you in its entirety. It's not warm enough for me to wear it here outside. So I have a few not so good photos of me wearing that at the inside the apartment, and you know, lighting being what it is, it really doesn't show this fabulous fabric. It's not the fabric that was sort of recommended in the pattern. I didn't care. The version they had in the magazine was sort of a party shirt with a bow here on one of the shoulders, and where some like 10 centimeters of the end of the sleeve, each sleeve was chiffon or something, you know. So very fancy fabrics, and it was made out of satin fabric, and that's not what I wanted. I wanted something that I could wear in the everyday life. So this is, well, it's totally synthetic material. I don't know what it's called in Finnish, neither in other languages. It's pretty thick. I don't know if it shows on camera, probably not. I'm not even sure if it focuses, because I can't see myself on the screen because it's so sunny here. Wow. So yeah, but the one good thing about this fabric, in addition to it being pretty thick and stretchy, is that it really doesn't unravel here in the edges at all. So there was no need to finish the edges of the fabric, which is always fun. It makes sewing the fabric easier, and yeah. And so for the sizing, I took my measurements, bust size, waist, and hips, and checked the size chart of the magazine. So my bust was about size 48. I really didn't know that my boobs were that big. And I've talked about this before, but yeah, so that's what it sort of fell into. Just 2 centimeters under what was on the chart for size 48. My waist was between 46 and 48, I think right in the middle. And even 46 seemed quite a bit big for me, as an idea of my size. My hips were in the chart in the size 40. So it's quite a big gap between 40 and 48. Of course, there was nothing on the magazine saying how much ease the blouse had. I don't know if they just don't do that in sewing magazines, because knitting magazines and knitting patterns very well often, at least often, say whether it has positive ease or negative ease and how many centimeters or inches, whatever. This had no info on that. What I could figure from the picture in the magazine, just the one, it looked pretty loose. And of course, the fact that there are these, are they darts? Something here in the neckline led me to believe that maybe I could fit my really big boobs in the shirt, even if I didn't take for size 48, or even if I didn't cut size 48. I decided not to try and sort of fudge between sizes. I just decided that, okay, I'm just gonna try size 42, which is more or less what I personally feel I am, or think I am, 42. And I drew the pieces from size 42 and I cut the fabric with that 42 size. And the pictures that I'll put here will show you how it fits on me. So I'm really happy with that size. That being said, maybe if I had made it out of some other kind of material, one that wasn't that stretchy, or I don't know, this I think has a very nice drape also, because it is pretty heavy. So maybe out of some other type of fabric, that size would not be so good on me, but whatever. So the front piece is made out of this central piece, and then here in the side, so you have this seam going down the side of your front, and I think that looks really nice. It gives a nice figure to the shirt. I just folded hemmed the sleeves and put an elastic band in, and I think it does the trick. Looks pretty okay. And yeah, the curved hem, my goodness. I talked about this last summer when I made a t-shirt with a curved hem, and I was just really, really frustrated with how to hem a curved hem, like how to turn it. And anyway, since this shirt looks so nice, I decided, okay, let's just take a breather, get some video tutorials out of YouTube, and let's just do it. And so I did, and I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. So it's okay. I haven't ironed it at all, but it's I think it's neat. The only thing is that next time, because I truly believe I will do another one or make another one, I'll probably cut the pieces just a tad bit shorter, because it is kind of long in the hem. Maybe, I don't know why, but yeah, so that's how I feel. It's a little long. So really happy with the shirt, really happy with the fabric. I think it's just really, really beautiful. I love the roses here. Okay, so that's everything. I'll show you other things next time, and until we meet again, happy sewing.